Jade, congratulations. You're not just a plant boutique, you are so much more. Oglewood Avenue is so much more. Share what else you all do other than selling plant babies to people like myself.
Of course, we sell plants, so we specialize in indoor tropicals. We specialize in collector items, which is kind of a big deal. And then we specialize in statement plants, but we also do workshops, we do pop-ups, we do community events. We're hosting tons of different things for the community all of the time. And so I think our main purpose is to, of course, kind of be a place to get plants, but I think our second main purpose is to kind of just be a place where the community can come in, chat, talk, and share information.
Talk about some of the challenges that you've faced along the way.
Wow, so we opened up during the pandemic, and so I think our main challenge was trying to navigate how to open a retail store in the direct middle of the pandemic. So I think that was number one. Also, it was a little challenging just getting it started. It was bootstrapped by personal funds. And so that was a challenge in itself, especially with a person who doesn't necessarily have a business background. I went to school for microbiology. So I think going into it in a pandemic with not a crazy amount of business knowledge was probably the biggest challenge we've had thus far.
What are some of the things that you've taken away from the challenges? What have you learned?
So I've learned the power of pivoting, very much likely. So when we first opened our doors, we had to kind of limit the customers that could come in at one time, and that was a pivot. Now houseplants were super trendy, and so trying to navigate the high demand in such a short period of time was kind of challenging with a very small team. And I think now the challenge that we face at the moment is kind of staying relevant as the trend of plants is going to a kind of consistent level. We opened our doors and were hit very heavy with tons of traffic, which is amazing. And so now we're trying to figure out kind of how to sustain ourselves after that big boom during the pandemic.
Let's look 5 years ahead. Where do you see yourself then?
Hopefully more Oglewoods. I think it'd be super awesome to not only have Oglewoods in the North Knoxville area, but maybe go a little bit of outskirts, so maybe West Knoxville, maybe different cities, kind of like Alcoa, Maryville. So hopefully there's at least a couple more locations in store. And then expanding on our community base, not only with pop-ups, more workshops, and then probably more interior design work. So going to offices, maybe hotels, and playing with the idea of plants as living decor rather than just something that you take care of sometimes.
What advice would you give to someone who was where you were before you had this dream of Oglewood?
I guess my advice would be to be prepared for it to not go the way you necessarily desire it, but to keep pushing forward anyway. There were a lot of bumps and curves and pivots and turns the entire journey, and still are to this day, but I feel like the best advice I could give somebody would be to kind of lean into that. Don't always have a plan that you have to stick towards, because sometimes the best outcomes are the things that you aren't expecting.
Jade, thank you very much. Congratulations, so deserved.
Oh, thank you so much.